Hello, friend. Welcome to Shepherd My Heart. My name is Pamela, and I'm so glad you joined me today. We serve a good God, and I hope that you know Him. And if you don't, I hope that something that I share births a hunger in you to know Him. Today, I want to talk about what God says about pursuing wealth. Some of you may have been hurt by ministries that have pursued wealth in a wrong way, and it's turned us off from even wanting to experience wealth for ourselves because it seems evil or it doesn't seem like something God would want us to do. But sometimes I think that the enemy wants to keep us from the blessings that God has in store for us. So let's look at what he says. We need to look at the broader biblical narrative. The answer isn't just a simple yes or no. Instead, Scripture presents a tension between wealth as a blessing and wealth as a potential trap. The desire for wealth can be dangerous if we are seeking wealth to protect us from the uncertainties of life, to insulate us from trouble, or to rely on ourselves for provision. It can lead us to temptation, harmful desires, and away from our faith. Paul says in 1 Timothy 6:6-10, ESV version, "But godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into the world, and we cannot take anything out of the world. But if we have food and clothing, with these we will be content. But those who desire to be rich fall into temptation, into a snare, into many senseless and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evils. It is through this craving that some have wandered away from the faith and pierced themselves with many pangs." And I'm sure all of us can share people that we have seen this happen to, or ministries that we have seen this happen to. And yet that's not the end of the story, because it's people of wealth that supported Paul's ministry. Acts mentions a woman, Lydia, a seller of purple goods. We see Phoebe, who was possibly a benefactor, and Aquila and Priscilla, who Paul worked with in the trade of tent making. Money and possessions are tools that God uses to bless us and to bless others. And this reveals a key truth. Wealth is a tool, not an identity. It is to be held with open hands and trusted to God's purposes. If you continue on through this chapter in Timothy, Paul instructs how the rich should live. Let's look at verses 17-19. He says, "As for the rich in this present age, charge them not to be haughty, not to set their hopes on the uncertainty of riches, but on God, who richly provides us with everything to enjoy. They are to do good, to be rich in good works, to be generous and ready to share, thus storing up treasure for themselves as a good foundation for the future, so that they may take hold of that which is truly life." So Paul is not telling them to become poor, but he's telling them how to live as in their current situation, in their current season. When we look through this, we find that riches are uncertain. It is God who richly provides, and it is in order that we can be generous and ready to share. Deuteronomy 8 shows God's desire to bless his people with abundance, but they are warned not to forget God in prosperity, and that the land of blessing is also a place of testing for the heart. Sometimes God allows wealth to reveal our heart to us and where our trust is, and we want to be aware of that. Deuteronomy 8:7-10 says, "For the Lord is bringing you into a good land, a land of brooks of water, of fountains and springs, flowing out in the valleys and hills. a land of wheat and barley, of vines and fig trees and pomegranates, a land of olive trees and honey, a land in which you will eat bread without scarcity, in which you will lack nothing, a land whose stones are iron, and out of whose hills you can dig copper. And you shall eat and be full, and you shall bless the Lord your God for the good land he has given you. This, I believe, is God's desire for us. This is his design, that we would dwell in a good land. But with this, he also issues a warning. In verses 11 through 15a, it says, "Take care, lest you forget the Lord your God by not keeping his commandments and his rules and his statutes, which I command you today, lest when you have eaten and are full and have built good houses and live in them, and when your herds and flocks multiply, and your silver and gold is multiplied, and all that you have is multiplied, then your heart be lifted up, and you forget the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery, who led you through the great and terrifying wilderness." Maybe you are not in a season of dwelling in the good land without scarcity. Maybe you're going through a great and terrifying wilderness. That is not where he wants you to stay. During this time, you learn to lean on him, to know him. If you're dwelling in the good land, remember it is the Lord your God who brought you there and has given you opportunity to be generous and to always be ready to share. Paul teaches in Philippians that he learned the secret to face plenty and hunger, abundance and need, that he could do all things through Christ who strengthened him. Philippians 4:12 through 13. The real treasure is learning to be content in every season. Whether in abundance or lack, Christ is the sufficiency. That's the heart of the matter. Not what we have, but who we trust. God bless you as you walk through your seasons of life, and may each season be an opportunity to know him better and to draw you closer to his heart. God bless you today.